Get started here. Appreciate everyone's patience. So good afternoon. Thank you for attending STCR's first Lunch and Learn training session. My name is Ben Decker. I'm a sales engineer here for STCR, and I'm joined by Jen Fairley-Custer, one of our support account managers, who many of you may be familiar with. At STCR, we've been supporting the technology needs of grocers for over 55 years now, and believe that ongoing training is essential to meet the ROI targets that you have for a new POS system. This is why we have put together this monthly webinar series to help address and provide ongoing training on some key areas within the SMS solution. These will happen towards the end of every month and cover topics within SMS common for our support center to receive questions on from grocers all over the country. Today, we'll be going over balancing and declaration process within SMS, and Jen will take you through a typical day in the drawer and safe balancing operation of our back office. We welcome and are ready to take any questions via the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen along the way, and we will answer them all at the end of Jen's presentation. STCR is again dedicated to providing quality training and support to all of our customers, and we hope this serves as a great resource for you and your staff as a reference point moving forward. We want to empower you to take full advantage of SMS and all that it has to offer. Today's session is being recorded, and all of these webinars will be available for viewing after the fact. In a moment, I'm going to open a quick Q&A for you all to respond to at the bottom if you wouldn't mind. Your answers would be greatly appreciated. But with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Jen. Jen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ben, for that introduction. As Ben stated, we're going to be going over the balancing portion of SMS. I'm going to take you through a typical day that you would normally run into when balancing. Through this walkthrough, I'm going to be focusing on the daily maintenance of the pickups. So there is different options inside SMS. You can do daily, you can do weekly, and you can do open. All three of those options are available, and we set up the system to accumulate the accounting data based on those settings. But for today's purposes, we're just going to focus on how a daily would go through. So up on the screen right now, I have our balancing module open for SMS. The main part of this is the cashier balancing. That's what we call the drawers. And then the secondary part of this is the safe balancing, the back office balancing. So to start, I'm going to go through the drawers. As throughout the day, you'll be picking up drawers and doing loans through drawers. And then at the end of the day would be the safe balancing to make sure that everything matches up and is accounted for in the back. So for the drawer balancing, this is the cashier balancing. It automatically opens to the all operators screen, which is going to give you an overview of all the operators in the system. To help you scale down to just to look at just the operators that are showing for today, you can go into the operators with drawers, which is going to show just the operators that have drawers out for the time period specified for the daily. There's also some options over here. Once you complete all of your pickups, to show big shorts and overages. This will show any cashiers that at the end of the day are showing more or less than $5 off in their drawer. That's considered a big short and overage to the system. And there's also the auto loan function if you're going to be loaning cashiers money automatically at the start of the day. So just to kind of walk through, I have just my cashiers that I have running today. As you go through, at the bottom of the screen, it's going to show the revenue. This is the money that the cashiers have in their drawer right now before you pick it up. The first functionality up at the top is to just view. You can view the cashiers and get that information at the bottom. Secondly is the pickup. You can go ahead and pick the cashier that you're going to be doing the pickup on and use the pickup option. And then you're going to be brought to the tenders that the cashier has. Again, by default, the way that the system works is it's going to bring up the tenders that the cashier has actively used today. So for example, my programmer has used cash, check, debit, and credit cards today. If there is a tender that you're looking for that's not in this list that the cashier has not used, you can click the button right here for show all tenders, which will bring up all the tenders that are available in the system. Since mostly when doing pickups and loans and declares, you're just focusing on the tenders the cashier has actually used today, that's how come they have this view, to just focus on that. So to do the pickup, you need to go through and pick up all of the various tenders that the cashier has and count at them. There's a couple ways to do this. First way is, especially with the electronic Tenders, you can just use these double arrow buttons right here to bring over that dollar amount. Don't have to do anything else. Brings right over that dollar amount and the quantity of the transactions that have been used with this. Brings it over to the pickup section of the balancing, where then any corrections can be made here as well. And you can then either hit enter or you can hit the add to total. If there is a mistake made, you can also do the clear all. If you do the add to total, it brings it over to the total pickup that is not an editable screen. So any edits have to be done in the new pickup screen. If any mistakes are made at this point, it's very simple and easy to go back and undo them. The way that we do this is we call it a negative pickup. So for example, I did not mean to pick up the checks for $110. That was incorrect. I brought it over, but when I looked at the cashier's checks, they didn't have $110. Since it's over here, I now have to do a negative pickup. So I can do a negative pickup for 110 and for the quantity of -1, because it was 1, and I add that to the total and it's going to negate that. So now I don't have that pickup showing and I can actually input in the correct amount of checks that I picked up from the cashier. So I only had $100 in checks. They're missing a $10 check for right now, and I can add that in here. For the cash portion, this is where you have a few different options here as well. You can use the double arrow to bring over the cash portion, but generally speaking, cash is a variable that you are going to be counting in the back office, so you're going to usually hand put in an amount. So there's two different ways that you can do that. Number one, you can just count the money and just input the dollar amount right here. So I can say, I counted $170 for this cashier even, and add that into the pickup. The other option is that there is a calculator option. So if you're going into the calculator option, what this allows you to do is actually just count each denomination. This way, especially with change perhaps, the accounting person does not have to be not have to do the math. They can actually have the system do the math for them. So they can come through and they said they have 50 pennies and 10 nickels and 3 dimes, and it will automatically, as you're going through entering the denominations, it will automatically add them up at the bottom for the person putting in. They can accept the entries once they're done, and it will add to whatever they put in here. So, for example, I counted $170 in cash, but I just added in an additional $1.30 in change, and it will just add that right to the pickup. So you can use either one exclusively. You can put everything into this entry right here. You can put everything into the calculator, or you can use both intermittently, and it will add them together. Once done, you can then complete the pickup. Now, we can do multiple pickups throughout the day as needed. So if you have a cashier, they're done for the day, or they've gone to lunch for the day, or they've gone to break for the day, you may do a pickup right at lunchtime, you may do a pickup right at break time, or you just may let that accumulate and just do one pickup at the end of the day for the entire day. There is no right or wrong to that. All pickups will accumulate if you do multiple ones until you do the final one at the end of the day and do a declare. There is also the loan option. So there may be a situation where you need to actually loan money out to the cashier. Not so much with the auto loan, which is the beginning of the day, but just loaning money out throughout the day that you have to add money in there. So that's the second option up here. So it's loan. You can go into the loan and it shows the same as really what you were looking at with the pickup. So you can come in here, generally speaking, loans tend to be cash, and you can then input how much cash you're giving out to that cashier. So my operator 7, they're running really low on cash. They've been giving a lot of change today. I can go ahead, take $200 out of the safe and loan it to that cashier. So you just need to come in here, input the amount, add that to the total, and just like with the pickups, you have the calculator option if you want it to do it that way. So you can put each denomination and have the system do the work for you. So you can say I'm loaning out 5s, 10s, 20s, whatever it may be. And once you have everything input, you can then complete. And that will now add money. Once I refresh this, now it's adding money, so they have $200 in loan. So in addition to that 53 cents that wasn't picked up earlier, you now have $200.53. the last option now that we need to do is to declare. So after everything's done, you have all of your pickups in for the day, you have all your loans in for the day, you can then go back and declare that cashier and say this cashier is done for the day. I'm declaring them as done for the day. I'm going to go ahead and switch to a different operator to start fresh. I'm going to go into my manager. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I picked up everything for the day. So we're just going to go into that pickup option, go through, and I'm going to bring over my tenders, add them to the total. I'm going to do a cash pickup. So I'm going to say I picked up $250 even from this cashier, leaving them off by $579, and complete that. So now that's the only pickup I did. The cashier is done for the day. They're going home. So now I can come through and I can declare that cashier. You go into the declare. It's going to prompt you to make sure you want to declare. You do 1 enter, or if you hit the button on accident, you can do 0. And it's going to bring up one last time that tender screen. It's giving one last chance to make sure that everything has been picked up. If everything has been picked up and the cashier is exactly balanced, there won't be anything in the current declare. If there are off, so they were $5.79, that's showing in here. So this is one last stop so that the accounting person can double check, verify, yep, they were $5.79 off. I didn't count that amount. And then they can complete it out. If they need to make a correction, they can also make that correction here. I'm going to go ahead and complete them out. I want to have them be a little bit off today. And after that's done, now when I refresh my screen, the operators with drawers, that operator is no longer active. I've said that cashier is done for the day. I have declared that cashier, so they're no longer active. The system is very forgiving. If you do declare a cashier by accident and they were not done for the day, you can then, as soon as the cashier goes and logs into the lane, they will be undeclared. The system sees that. They're like, oh, that cashier just rang another transaction. So it undeclares them and they'll start showing back up here in the operators with drawers. All the pickups will still be there. All of the loans will still be there. So you don't have to go back and redo those, but it will start accumulating again so that way you can pick up the cashier again. So once so after you're done with that though, they should be able to come in and check. Any cashier showing big shorts or overage should be showing in here. I did that $5 on purpose, so that cashier was off by over $5, and they're going to show up in the big over shorts. And that would be the last place that you can kind of check, validate the cashier. If you want to, these pages are available to be printed out. At any step in this process, you can click on the print button down here. You can also, at any point in the process, check any pickups and loans that have been done. So right here, you can go through the pickup history and any loan history that's been done. And you can go ahead and view and make sure and get the details of those pickups and loans to see what was picked up. This is especially useful if you're doing multiple pickups throughout the day, multiple loans throughout the day for a cashier. So that way you can go back. If they're showing a large overage short, you can make sure maybe there was a loan that wasn't put in or a pickup that wasn't finalized, and that could be explaining why they're off by a large amount. So it's a nice place to go ahead and check that. The second part of balancing is the safe balancing. So once all the cashiers are picked up and all the loans are done, you can then come in and you can view the safe. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the daily for the safe so we can just look at just today's amount, because we're just looking at just today's amounts in the drawer, sticking with that daily for our walkthrough. And you'll be able to come in and see everything that has been done for the day. All of those pickups, all of those loans are going to come and accumulate in the declare in the safe. Nothing additional needs to be done by the accounting person in order for them to show up. It's automatic. What the safe does is allows you to make any changes other than those. So these are all the pickups I've done: cash, check, debit. Those are the ones that we just saw. They're automatically in my safe. Now, what else can I do in the safe? First things up here is you can view the safe. There's only one, so you can view the one active safe. You can make deposits. Deposits will take the money out of the safe and put that money into the bank, assuming. So it's going to take the responsibility from the cash out of the safe. SMS will no longer be tracking it, assuming that it's going to be deposited in the bank. So it's a negative transaction to the safe. The receive is if you're receiving any money into the safe other than money that you're receiving from the operators. And then the declare is just like with the cashiers at the end of the day. Once the safe is done for the day, all of the pickups, all of the loans, any receives, any deposits have been done. The accounting person can then declare the safe is done, leaving a final dollar amount that will then be able to be received in by the morning person to start off the safe properly. So just to go through these, the deposit is going to be the same idea as doing the pickup and loans as the cashiers. It's going to show all the active tenders that are available to be deposited. So cash, check, debit, credit card, those are the ones that I've been picking up from the cashiers. So those are the ones that are available to be deposited into the bank. There is a button right here to show all tenders as well. This will show all the tenders available if you need to add something additional in there to be deposited. But by default, the system comes in to show just the active ones. Also, just like the cashiers, you have the double arrows, so you can go ahead and just move over anything that is just going to stay the same exact amount. It's just going to pull what has been picked up, and it's just going to pull it right into that deposit, so you don't have to go manually typing everything in. You can add it to the total. Again, the variable is generally cash. Also, the same as with the cashiers and the safe, there is the option you can just input the dollar amount right here that you're going to be depositing, or there is the calculator option. So you can come in here and look at the calculator, and you can go ahead and do this by denomination, and they'll also add together. So I'm just going to go ahead and say we're going to deposit $250 of that $321 that I've received in from the cashiers today. Going to automatically update over here, show us what our new safe balance will be after this deposit's taken out, and then I can go ahead and complete. Once I refresh my view, that's all that's going to be showing in the declare amount. That money has now been taken out of the safe and deposited in the bank. If a mistake was made, there's the ability, just like with the ability to do a negative pickup, there's the ability to do a negative deposit. So you can come in here and undo anything. You just need to do a new deposit. And I did not mean to deposit that full 250. I was supposed to only deposit 200. So I can do a negative deposit of $50 and take that $50 back out of the deposit. And now my safe balance is showing 121 and my deposit is only showing 200. So it's a simple way, if there's a mistake, to go ahead and correct that mistake and have your screen be correct so that your deposit is showing correctly and your amount that's in the safe is showing correctly. Same with the receive. The receive is now bringing money in. Maybe you got a change order from the bank. You're running low on 5s, 10s, whatever it may be. So you need to get those in from the bank. So you can now do a receive. Shows you all the active tenders that have been used today. If you need to go ahead and look at all the tenders, that's available as well. Generally speaking, most receives are going to be with cash. You're going to need change back from the bank. So you can go ahead and type in the dollar amount received, or you can use the calculator option. And over here, you have paper money. So generally speaking, you're going to be receiving in 1s and 5s is usually the change that's needed from the bank. So you can do 100 1s, and I got 100 5s from the bank. And as I'm doing that, it's adding it up here. I'm getting a $600 receive into my safe. Once I accept the entries, it's going to show that right here. So total received is $600. My current safe before that was 121. Now I'm going to have 721, and I can complete it. So just using the calculator option, that goes ahead and it adds it right to my safe. Then the last section is the declare. So the declare is just like I said with the cashiers. Once the day is done, everything's accounted for. You can come into the declare. It's going to prompt you with that 1 yes, 0 no to make sure you want to declare. And then you can come in and have that last spot where you can go ahead and check. My checks are balanced out. I deposited everything. My debit cards, credit cards, all that was deposited. I had $600 in the safe. That's correct. That's what I want to start off the morning person with. And you can go ahead and complete it. If any corrections need to be made, you have that right here as well. If for some reason you declared the safe on accident, and a cashier is still out there ringing, don't worry. As soon as that cashier is ringing, they're going to undeclare it in the drawers. As soon as you do a pickup or a loan to that cashier, it's going to undeclare the safe and it's going to add into the safe. The system is very forgiving in that respect. The last section up here is the lines. I get this question a lot on what the lines does. This is going to show you the last transaction completed. So the last thing that I did was I declared the safe. So it's showing right there the safe declare was complete. Don't need to do anything else. It's just kind of a visual to make sure that you've done everything, if that's the last step that we need the accounting person to do. And then they can quit out. There is some reporting that can go along with this, of course. The way that they set this up in SMS is that they have the balancing up here. We went into the extended module for the balancing to do that. Right below that is the reports that will tie into the balancing. So the store and safe balancing will give us all the transactions that were done on the store and safe. So if we go into here, one of the main reports that we usually recommend be used is the total store summary. So you can run this report. Again, I'm focusing on the daily, but you can run it weekly, monthly, yearly. And you can get all of the pickups, all of the loans that were done on the safe up here, all of the receipts that were done. So loans would have been taking the money out and giving it to the cashier. So the section right here is the cashier information that we did. These numbers should match. The loans should always match, just like the pickups should always match. So everything I picked up from the cashiers was picked up and put into the safe. And it's a nice place you can go ahead and check and validate that this all matches as it should. This is what I wanted to see at the end of the day. This cashier was off. My safe was at $600. And then it gives you a little bit of sales information down here that you can go through as well. There's also some additional reports. You can look at the safe totals by media meaning the tender. So you can look at all the tenders in the safe. You can get all the view of all the transaction details. And there's also a deposit form. If you're depositing it but not taking that deposit, if you're depositing money, with the bank and you want to create a document to bring with you to the bank, you can create that form right here as well. The other one is your operator balancing. So those reports are right underneath that. And what this will do is give you the reporting of all of the transactions that you did when you were balancing the cashier. So the operator balance sheet, again, you can run this. I'm going to focus on the day. And this will give you that breakdown of showing you what the cashier tendered and what they should have in drawer and what they should have picked up throughout the day. So I didn't do a pickup on my cashier. I didn't do a pickup on my number 2 cashier. I did do a pickup on my number 5. So you can see right here, if I'm looking at this, these are all still in their drawer because I didn't do a pickup. But my 5, it's showing that they were picked up. So this is the amount they should have had. This was the amount that I picked up, and this is their short overage. You can also run these on just one report, or you can leave it open-ended, one operator, or you can go ahead and narrow it down to just one operator. There's also accounting by operator, which will give you the accounting amount by operator. This all ties in pretty well together, so you can look at this, and a lot of this is going to show on the balance report. That's kind of an all-in-one, but this gives you that breakdown between loans and pickups, if that's the detail that you're looking for. There's also just showing the loans and pickups, operator pickup and loans, which just shows only pickups and loans, doesn't give you the beginning and end. And then there's the operator short overage report. What this does is, instead of just showing you the $5 over or under, like we saw, that big over short, this will show all the shorts and overages. So it doesn't just limit it to just the ones that are off by $5. So you can get that kind of detail with more. And then there's just a few down here. We consider these the fraud watch reports. And this is going to help you look into any cashiers that are showing big shorts or overages. There's the operator negative report, which will show you all tax exempts, refunds, training transactions, void transactions, negative transactions that were done at the lanes. So that way you can drill into that kind of detail to see what the operators are doing that may cause the big shorts and overages. And there's also the function report, which also is another tool to help you drill down into that information. it will give you sales keyed, no sales, suspended orders, anything like that, that the cashier may have done, which again may have contributed to them being short in overage. So with that, I'm going to turn to Ben and see if we had any questions come in throughout the presentation.
Awesome. Awesome job, Jen. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have a few questions that came in through here. One of the attendees was asking if the safe can be balanced partway through the day as a sort of spot check for the store funds.
So yes, they can go into and look, and they can come in and view the safe balance throughout the day as much as necessary. The declare on the side will always show that running total of what the cashiers have been picked up and loaned, and they can get that history. And also they can come in here and just spot check up here to see what the safe total is. It will give you that total amount that's in the safe between deposits and receives and pickups and loans.
Awesome.
So it can be spot checked throughout the day, and reports can be run throughout the day as well. So all of the reports that I just showed on the safe can show the balance at the moment that the report was run.
Awesome. Another question here was, can any of those reports be automated to automatically run after the drawer or safe declarations have been completed? Can those reports be automatically generated?
Yes, they can be automatically generated. It's actually something that we can do in the back, that we can do it right on pickup or right on declare, mostly whichever one is the preference. And we'll work with the customer, ask them which reports they want to have automatically generated, and we can key that in on either drawers or safe.
Awesome, that's great to know. And everyone, again, thank you for these questions. If you have any more questions now, again, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of the Zoom screen to ask any other questions while we're going through this Q&A portion of the session. Another one here, Jen, was, can they do pickups and loans from any other screens within the system, or do they have to always go back to the workstation or the back office to do those?
So no, they could actually do these pickups in two different places. If you are looking at it in what we just did, that's meant for the back office computers. There is the ability to go ahead and do this actually on the cashiers, so on the registers, the point of sales. I'll bring that up here so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's a little bit different view. It's called the quick entry view, and this would be what we could have this show up on the cashier screen, obviously locked down to whatever manager that you would like to have it show up for, and they can do the pickups right there on the fly. So they just need to come in. It would just, same idea that we just followed with the cashier code, so they can put in the cashier that they need to pick up, so that cashier number, and then they would just do pickup, loan, or drawer declare, so they can do a pickup. And then down here's all the denominations that they can go through and pick up. So just like we did in the back, they could do pick up $100 in cash, they could pick up $50 in check, and then they can complete the pickup right here. They can also do loans, they can also do declares. You can also do safe transactions here. The reason why this is available on the point of sale is there is limitations you can set in the system. So if once they reach especially a certain cash amount that they have in the drawer, there'll be a warning that comes up on the screen. You can also program it to actually stop allowing the cashier from taking transactions after they hit a certain dollar amount until a pickup is done. So this gives that ability to quickly do it right then and there for the managers. There's also on the handheld, the new application MFloor has the ability to do the pickups right on a handheld. So a manager can go over with the handheld and enter in a pickup on the handheld as they're taking the money right out of the drawer to update the system very quickly that the money has been taken off, especially in that type of situation.
Great. Thank you for that question. And last one that we have here at the moment, again, if there are any other questions from the attendees, please do not hesitate to raise your hand or enter them into the QA. Are there any tools within the SMS system to monitor those drawers to alert a manager or a staff member ideal times to do those pickups or loans? There
is the ability that we can set up what we call limits, and we can, So if you're looking at like a certain time, specific time, like clock time, not with that aspect, but we can set up limits so that it can alert them that they've reached certain dollar amounts. So they have a certain cash amount, certain debit amount, certain check amount that's in their drawer, that we can set up alerts that once they hit those, that it can tell them that it's time to go do a pickup. So not so much with like a specific time, like 1:35 p.m., but with they're hitting these limits. These cashiers have been on this long and they're starting to get $600, $700, $600 to $7 in checks. And then it can alert them that a pickup is needed soon.
Awesome. And I think that's exactly what they were asking. We got another question here in the chat is, where can they see those alerts? Are they on the POS screen? Are they in the back office? Where do those alerts go?
They're going to come up on they're going to show up on the cashier screen. They're going to show up as a red box. So let me just log into the selling screen right here. They'll show up in a red box, just like it says right here. It'll show pickup needed soon or limit reached. If they hit the limit, that if you wanted to set a limit that they cannot take transactions any longer until they get a pickup done, I usually recommend that you do a pickup needed soon limit, like $500 cash, then pickup needed now, and stop them from taking any more transactions at like $600 to give them time to get that pickup done. It can also be programmed to show up in the back office as well. And it would show up, let me switch over to my view, going back and forth between the front end, that it can show up in here as an alert right here. They just have to be, I generally think that the cash register is the easier place to see that, because the cashier will notice it and the manager coming over will notice it, just because you have to be logged into the application and have it visually pop up on the right screen. So, but yes, it is available to be in the back. But like I said, the nice thing is with the cashier, they're always looking at the screen, so they'll see that and they can easily alert a manager, as opposed to somebody making sure they're sitting in front of a screen in the back.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I hope those answers answer the questions that everyone had during this session here today. I'll give it just another moment if there are any other questions from the attendees regarding the balancing, pickup, loan, or declaration process here within SMS. If not, I do want to thank everybody for your questions today, for attending STCR's first monthly Lunch and Learn. For any non-STCR grocers on the call today, again, thank you. If you have any more questions about SMS or STCR, please do not hesitate to send an email to myself, as shown on the screen here, bend@stcr.com, so we can coordinate the appropriate follow-up. For all of our current customers, we appreciate and value your business and look forward to helping each and every one of you with your retail technology needs. Please do not hesitate to email us, call, or reach out to our 24/7 help desk so we can assist you properly. The next topic to be covered within our webinar series will be announced very soon. This will be happening on the last Thursday of February. That is going to be February the 23rd. Thank you for that question. As mentioned at the start of this webinar, the recording will be available after today's session for you and other members of your team to be used as future refreshers on the topics covered today. Thank you all again so much for your time. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.